Okay, hi everyone. This is SmithyQ, SmithyQ.com. I'm here back with another video analysis. Though I kind of wish I weren't here, I suppose. I promised that every time I lose a game, I would post analysis, a deep analysis that really digs into why I lost a certain game, right? So that way you don't make the same mistake again. Well, spoiler alert, in case you didn't know, I recently lost a game against an opponent rated much lower than me. He was in the 1600s while I was 2000. I think I was over 2100 at the time. It doesn't matter, really, because it was in this position. I'm black, and I played the very nice tactic. Rook takes f3, because now the queen isn't defended. If he plays queen takes queen, I, of course, will take back some of the piece. If he takes my rook, well, I take his queen. And if he takes my free bishop, it doesn't matter, because I have queen takes f2 check. So this is my brilliant little tactic. I was pretty pumped when I played it. Here we go. There is one small problem, though. You might see it, is that queen takes h8 check just hangs a rook. And so, why did I lose this game? I lost this game because chess blindness. I didn't see a rook was there, and that's it. And it's really tempting just to say that I lost this game because I didn't see one move. That's it. Otherwise, it would have been smooth sailing. I would have won no problem. If you were to think like that, though, that's I think that's an error, because many times, many times, the blunder, there's something that usually precedes the blunder. That is, there was a mistake earlier. The blunder is the symptom, right? So rook takes f3 was the symptom, but the actual disease is further back. So what I want to do is I want to show you where I think this blunder came from. It's going to affect, it's not so much a chess thing as it is a psychological thing or an approach. Let me show you what I mean. Hopefully this is helpful. So I was black. Opening was the Scandinavian. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. This is the opening I'm trying to learn. Maybe I should try to learn like harder, because I think I played 3 games with this so far, and I've got 2 draws and a loss, all against lower rated players. So something's up. This used to be, it doesn't matter. So we soon reach this position, which is absolutely fine. The queen, it might look kind of strange here on f5, but there's no real way for white to attack it. The only way white could try to do that would be something like knight h4, but then the knight is over here doing nothing after my queen moves. What's the knight going to do? Nothing. And so the queen's actually fine. Then after castle, knight c6, knight e2, he's defending his pawn. I decide to go for the attack. h5. Here we go. And before I go any further, actually, this is important, is that it's so easy to look at this game and to say that I lost it, that I just threw it away with the blunder, which I suppose is true, but at the same time, my opponent won this game. All right? That's important. We need to, because we're often on the other side as well. We never want to be a sore loser in chess. My opponent, again, massively outrated. He played normal moves, he played good moves, and he gave me the rope, essentially, for me to hang myself, for me to eventually blunder. And so I want to make sure our Zemishka, hopefully I'm saying that right, you played very well, and even though I'm mostly mad at myself, and I'm not really going to talk about your play very much, you did play well, so I want to congratulate you. Because often what happens in such a similar position, I had just played h5, is that so often, when I'm against lower-rated players, is that they implode at this point. They will, they'll make an unnecessary defensive move, or they'll completely overreact, and then I'm able to win very easily. And my opponent doesn't do that. He plays very, very sensibly. And so we'll see that. We reach this position, I castle, c3. And now if you were to look at this at the computer, I think all my moves are first choice. Maybe not h5. H5 might have been like 4th choice or something, but they're all, similar. I played very well up till here. So is my opponent. The game is equal. And now the question is, what would you do? What would you do as black here? And, well, there's a couple options, right? We could finish development. We could do something like bishop e7 or bishop d6. We can think about playing e5, opening the center, because our rook is pitting the queen. We got ideas of eventually playing h4 if we can, or knight g4. Both of these would be nice ideas. Right now, the h-pawn would be hanging, and the knight is pinned, so those don't work very well. But that's the general idea. Also, a good idea would be to take one moment right now, use some prophylaxis to move my king over, because right now it's opposite side castling. I'm attacking him, he's going to attack me. So having my king over here on one would be a very good move, would be useful. If you sort of look at this position and think any of those moves, they jump out, that's excellent. That's exactly how you should be thinking. And what I did is I played Rook d5. And there's two reasons behind this. The first is I'm trying to have sort of my cake and eat it too. I want to have all the advantages that I was just talking about, while also having more. Now the knight isn't pinned, so that's great. Now I can play bishop d6, and the rook is still pinning this pawn. Sorry. If I were to play bishop d6, this rook is no longer pinning the pawn, which means there might be tactics with e5 or knight e5 don't work anymore. By putting the rook here, I can now play bishop d6, and the pawn is still pinned, so e5 should have more force. The bishop is forced to retreat. Hopefully h4 is going to come. The rook will also help control the g-pawn. Sorry, the g-file, because my general plan would be something like he moves his bishop, I move my queen out of the way, and I'm going to move the rook here, move this up here, something like that. And I'm attacking this way. And the rook will then slide over, everything's happy, and I'm going to get a checkmating attack. That's the idea. But if you look at it, rook d5 is not a very natural move. It's a rook in the middle of the board, and it can be attacked by anything. Knights, bishops, pawns, and it's forced to retreat. You know, they say you don't move your queen too early in the game, because if anything attacks it, your queen has to retreat. It's the same thing with the rook. The rook is very awkward there. It's misplaced. And this is honestly, I think it's a move. It's me trying to be too clever. I'm trying to show my lower-rated opponent that I'm so much better than him, that I can find this resource, rook d5, and I'm going to outplay him this way. But it doesn't work that way, and this is actually the first mistake in the game, and it's quite a big one. It's a big mistake, because my opponent plays normal moves. He moves his bishop to a better square. I play knight g4. He brings queen e2, and it's hard for me. How do I get rid of this bishop and continue my attack? I guess I could play bishop b7, but why didn't I just play that before? Why did I move my rook over here? And we'll actually see in just a few moves. I try and play my idea, but now the rook attacks the queen, and I greatly underestimated this move. That's really a polite way of saying I didn't see this move at all. I was looking at c4 the entire time, but he had queen c4, and now we see my rook's over here. And now look at this. If we were to back up, if we look at this position, all right, white has no attack against my king. There's nothing there. Well, I've got some main ideas. We jump ahead. Where is it? Right here now. All of a sudden, white is coming. His pawn is here. It's chasing all my defenders away, so now I have less defenders. He plays b4. Now my rook is on a very awkward square. And here, my opponent had the chance to play knight e4. And had he played knight e4, I think he's close to winning here. White's position is absolutely tremendous. Black's attack is going nowhere fast. There's no real play. It's hard for this knight to actually participate in the attack, because if it moves, knight takes e5 is going to be devastating. The knight itself, it is threatening to come here, attacking the rook again, eyeing some very weak squares. It can never be chased away by f5, because then the knight would come in here to e6, and that's pretty much game over, I think. The knight would just be too strong. Also, I'm controlling the g5 square, or white is controlling the g5 square excellently, so it's going to be very hard to get the pawn assault coming in. White can also just think about doing something like this, pressing the pawns forward, and he's got a very powerful position here, an incredible position, and I don't know if I could have defended it. Fortunately, my opponent played h3, which is a tactical error, because after knight e3, forking everything, he takes, I take. The position has changed now. is that his king is just as vulnerable as mine, basically. But something interesting happened here. If we back up, as soon as he played h3, I knew that was a mistake. And in my head, I said, aha, I see this tactic. I must be better. See my thought process? I saw something, he missed it, I'm better. Okay? But that's not the case. If we're to back up, again, if he plays knight e4, not only is he, he's practically winning. I don't know, it's just white's got an incredible position. Instead, he does something different. Here we go. And so, it's not winning for either of us, it's equal. It's still equal. But I completely misjudged this. I now play as if I'm winning. As if I play perfectly, I must win. But that's not the position. And I again think the only reason I thought this is because of the rating. Right? We always say play the board, not the rating. And I still am. But my evaluation, it was greatly influenced by the rating. If I were against a grandmaster in this position, there's no way I'd be as confident or as sure of myself and make these next moves as quickly. Because what happened is he plays rook f2, which is fine. I get my attack going. He plays queen e4, attacking the pawn. Now, I could defend it with f6, which is the best move. It is. But I didn't like f6 because it blocks my bishop, and now this rook can't slide over. I want to do something like this. Bring the rook over and get the... That'd be absolutely fantastic. And so what I do is I start looking for a tactic. Now this is actually a... this is a correct thought process. If you think you're winning, right? If your position is overwhelming, and you think there's a tactical shot, you dig in, you find it, because if you do, if there is one, you win. It's that simple. If there is a tactic in this position, and you find it, you win. And so, it comes as part of a semi-tactical sense, semi-positional sense, but if you think you're going to win, you dig in. If you think the position is critical, you find a tactic. And I did. I said, aha, I don't need to defend the pawn, because I can play rook f6, and if he takes, I'm going to play rook takes f3, stopping, removing the defender, attacking this, defending my queen, I can give up the bishop, everything is fine. And in truth, I played these moves in about 90 seconds, right? And this is a daily correspondence game. I had near infinite time. I played, okay, this looks good. Rook f6, he took the pawn, and then I took it instantly. Like I practically pre-moved it, right? Boom! And I never even noticed the queen takes h8. So where did this blunder come from? Yes, it's easy to say it's just chess blindness, but in fact there's something more. Is that my position was bad, and then my thought process was bad, or more specifically, my evaluation. I was incredibly overconfident, and I was so overconfident, I stopped asking myself, what are my opponent's threats? Or what can my opponent do? Or do I need to keep myself safe? Or anything along that lines. I just assumed I was winning, and that's why I lost this game. It's that. And so, I hope you, okay, I'm not going to try and pretend this is a Picasso or anything. I mean, it's a game. It was not one of my best games, actually. It kind of shows I need to take a break from chess for a little bit. That's why I haven't posted videos, I haven't played games. I apologize. Some of you have challenged me to games, and, I've been really quiet. It's just, I'm not thinking chess very well right now. And this game kind of shows that, doesn't it? At the same time, if you take this idea, right, of not just dismissing your blunders, right, which is the easiest, because again, I don't want to look at this game anymore. I could have so easily said, oh, I missed a rook, whatever, and never looked at this game. But there's a lot of errors in here. There's actually more I could have dug in, but there's no real point. The idea is, if you look through your own games, you find your blunders where you just flat out miss something. Often there's a seed earlier in the game. Maybe you're overconfident, underconfident. Maybe it's you're so focused on something else the entire time, and all your moves are going in that direction that you miss something simple. Or you're so focused on a particular, say you're focusing on like a rook takes f2 sacrifice, right, that you miss an easier sacrifice over here. Something like that, right? It's very, very common. Okay? So I hope you found that useful, hope you found that helpful in any way. Merry Christmas, everyone. This is coming out on Christmas Eve, so everyone has a happy holidays, and hopefully in the new year, I'm gonna take a couple of weeks off. Well, not that I just took a month off. I'm gonna take some weeks off, take some time off, just sort of relax from chess. Hopefully, come back in the new year, all pumped up, ready to go, and I'll have some more videos. Okay. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye for now.